Welcome back to The Vibe. We've changed our name, but don't be fooled. We're the same as always, here to bring you interesting, useful information about vibrantly living. Hello, everyone. It's good to be back here with you. I'm Yvonne Miles, the founder of Vibrantly Living You, which is a health and wellness lifestyle movement that is absolutely dedicated to helping you claim health so vibrant, it's as though you're aging backwards. I know I say that every single week, but I say it because I know it to be true. I know it to be true, and I'm here to take that stand for you to also be able to know and feel that it's true. If there is one thing that I have learned over the last few years that I found myself in this space, it's that good health is really something that has to be intentional. You really need to invite it into your life. Treat it like a welcomed guest, because your health is really, truly the most precious thing that you'll ever have. There's a saying that I heard a while ago that it rings so true, and that is that a healthy person can have many dreams, but a person who's not healthy tends to have just one dream. And we're here to make sure that you have lots and lots of dreams. Instead of sitting on the sidelines of your life. I hope that sounds like a good proposition for you. If it does, then send me a line in the chat. Let me know how you feel about that statement. So here we are in the month of April, and this is the month that we are moving on into the second chakra. The second chakra, which is known as the sacral chakra. Chakra in Sanskrit means wheel, and the Sanskrit name for the sacral chakra is Svadhisthana. I just love how that just rolls off of my tongue, Svadhisthana. Where is Svadhisthana? Where is the sacral chakra? Well, you can think of it as residing in the area of your pelvis. Just think of your pelvic bowl and all of the organs that are located there, primarily your reproductive organs. The sacral chakra, Svadhisthana, is considered the seat of your emotions, of creativity, of creation, of reproduction, of your sense of identity, your sense of self. And the element is water, which makes sense. It's fluid, it's flowing. The color is vibrant orange. It's just pulsating with juiciness. I think it's one of my favorite chakras. So if you happen to be cut off from your sacral chakra, then you may find yourself having trouble entering into or maintaining healthy relationships. Or you may have a difficulty accepting your identity. That's very common if there are issues in that second chakra area. Blocked emotions might be something else that you're dealing with. Or you may have pain in your reproductive organs, or also even in the hips, or it may show up as sciatica. Now, just a quick refresh on why we're focusing on the chakras. We made this pivot last month to use the chakras as a systematic way to be able to identify where there might be gaps in our healthy living, and then to be able to address those in creative ways that will bring even more vitality and even more vibrancy. Now, once you can feel secure and rooted from the root chakra, which is what we covered in March, then the next important link up this energy chain, because that's what we're dealing with here, is energy in all of its different forms. That next important link is the sacral chakra, Svadhisthana. And this is where you can live deeply and authentically as yourself, no matter what. And I know that's got to sound good to you. If it does, then just go ahead and drop a line in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. So that's why I've invited a really dear friend of mine, Sahira, to spend time with us today. She made a shift in her life direction and chose to follow a path of creativity. And along the way, she discovered that she was actually helping people become more attuned to their inner creativity and authenticity. She's going to tell us more about that in just a moment. But before I introduce her, remember to stay until the end so that you can hear about a special gift that Sahira has brought with her today. And of course, I'm going to share my recommendation for the chakra food and the chakra mood of the week for you so that you can play with it, embody it, and learn from it. As I always say, nutrition and movement are the two biggest tools in your toolbox for intentional, vibrant health. So I want to keep them always in the picture. All right, so that is the groundwork that we're going to play with today. And now is the moment that you've been waiting for. I know I've been waiting for months, and that is to bring on Sahira. Sahira is a lifelong performer who has studied music, drama, and dance ever since the age of 2. But she's dedicated the last 20 years of her life to the art of belly dance. Her favorite thing in the world is to share dance with others. And I can attest to that because I used to study with her and I can't wait to get back to studying with her. She is trained in both Egyptian and tribal style of belly dance as well as modern and West African styles. And she loves to incorporate all of these influences into her art. You can see that whenever you see her perform. She's a lifelong musician and she considers herself to be head over heels crazy in love with something called zills. And if you're not familiar with zills, those are the finger symbols that dancers can also use. And she is a master at it. She is definitely known for her warm and inviting energy. And I'm surprised she says this, but I guess it's true, a tendency toward the ridiculous. So enough of that. Welcome, 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 Sahira. Let me bring you on and share this with you. You're here.
Thank you so much, Yvonne, for having me here and for that wonderful introduction. I am thrilled to get to hang out with you and to speak with your community today.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, let us get on with this. Let's get on with this. I mean, really, from the beginning, I was like, God, how can I get her on into this space? How can I get this? And when we decided to take this pivot into the chakras, it was like, yeah, okay, here we go, because you're a perfect fit for the second chakra, a perfect fit with belly dance. So, before you chose the world of dance, you were doing something else with your life, right? You trained as an engineer?
Yes, yes. I went to school and got my degrees in chemistry and environmental engineering, and actually worked in that field for just like 2 to 3 years. I didn't stick around there very long, but I actually enjoyed it. Like I really did enjoy the work that I did. I worked a little bit as an air quality consultant, and then I went to the nonprofit arena to do work for a land conservation organization as a community volunteer. And I loved it. I really did enjoy it quite a bit. But then, as belly dance often does, it entered my life and took over. And here I am, 21 years later, still belly dancing.
Oh my gosh. What do you think was that spark that inspired you to make that left turn, or maybe it's a right turn? I'm not.
Yeah, it's one of those things like I often feel like I didn't necessarily choose belly dance. It chose me, and I am a very very practical person. And so when this switch happened, like a lot of people including my family were very very surprised at what had gone on, and I'd like to say that I said, no, no, this is not the route for me. I want to follow my passion. I'm quitting this fantastic day job that pays really well, and I'm going to go live on the road in my tent and belly dance at Renaissance festivals. But that's not how it happened. I actually had been dancing for probably about a year, had gotten one or two or maybe three opportunities to dance at a restaurant, which the very first time I did it was a life changing moment. I've never been so nervous in my entire life. It was way too soon for me to be on stage. I got up there, I performed. I still have it on VHS tape. It wasn't terrible, doesn't make me cry. It wasn't bad. And then when I finished, like I was on this high, right? This performance high and just so happy. And then the owners of the restaurant gave me money. And I was like, oh, wow, really? I can get I can get paid to do this. And shortly thereafter, I lost my job as an engineer. I was laid off in a very ugly way that made me feel like I never wanted to work for another person ever again. I was like, this is not cool. This is not fair. And I am not okay with this situation. So I suddenly found myself unemployed with like a few odd and end jobs as a belly dancer coming my way from, regular restaurant dancers here in Houston who needed a substitute. So I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose because I've already lost it. Let's go ahead and give it a try. And I allowed myself to just sort of start dancing where I could. I literally like put all my things into storage, got on the road, started dancing at Renaissance festivals because that was the dancing that I knew could be fairly steady. And if it weren't for like the help and the kindness of friends, I had a boyfriend at the time who let me live rent free for a year because I made nothing belly dancing that first year. But eventually it took hold. And I'd always told myself, someday I'll go back to engineering. I have that degree in my back pocket. I'll totally go back. At this point, they would never take me, nor do I want to go. And so it's all good. And this is where I am now because I saw how it grew. I saw the feasibility and the viability of this as a business model, and it's just continued to grow over time. And I'm so blessed to be able to do something creative and make a full-time living out of it.
Yeah. Well, still, that took a lot of courage. It's still, I mean, to just, I mean, it sounds like you got a nudge, but it still took courage to set yourself out on that path. And I do like how you said that you felt like it chose you. Because many times that's why I think that's the only reason I'm here. I feel like I got chosen to be on this path as well. Yeah. So there had to have been some real ups and downs over, along that journey. What kept you at it?
That's a great question because there have been a lot of challenges. I mean, just getting started as a dancer was really challenging, kind of fumbling my way through, getting paid nearly nothing, trying to navigate the ins and outs of booking, gigs and parties and restaurants and whatnot. Living out of my tent at Renaissance festivals was not amazing, but it was what it was, and it gave me the opportunity to hone my skills. I think what I have honestly loved about it, and this is something that is born in me from the time I was a child, is the opportunity to learn and grow. So my business has changed a ton in the last 21 years. At first, I was mostly just dancing at restaurants and nightclubs and hookah bars and weddings and whatnot. And I do almost none of that now. I mean, especially in the last year with the pandemic. But even at this point, like I don't really do paid performances at nightclubs. What I now have is an online business where I teach others the joy and the beauty of the dance. And so my business has changed a lot. When I had a child, I took all of these performances and I started training other dancers to do them because I knew I wasn't going to be able to while I was pregnant go out and dance. So I trained dancers, started booking dancers, and as things evolve, actually now that same company of dancers, we're currently in the route of putting together a hula troupe just based on demand, desire to learn, desire to grow. And I think within this, I've really become very enamored of the business aspect of it, just the ability to grow as a businesswoman, to create my own entrepreneurial adventure, and then through that share the power and the joy and the wonder of dance with people now all over the world, which is just a magical thing.
Yeah. Well, you were doing that around the world even before even before you became an online business. Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. And I was on Zoom before it was cool and teaching belly dance on the internet before you had to. So
And I remember that because I remember being in the studio with you live, and I was thinking, why would anybody be, doing this online if they could be here in person? But yeah, you've always been a trailblazer for sure. You've got so much confidence. What is it that you think draws people to you? What is it that they're looking for?
Gotcha. Yeah, that's such a good question because there are so many belly dance teachers right here in Houston, around the world. Now that everyone is online, the question is often, why would anyone study with me when they can study with all the big name greats from anywhere in the world? And I've found when I look at my student body and when I try to figure out who is my ideal student, who is it that I really want to call out to, there is definitely a pattern over the last several years of who tends to find their home in my studio. And in general, the people who seek me out are people who are looking to come into this to have fun, right? They want to get into a new way to have a creative outlet. They want to find some additional health in their body. They want to move. They want to shake it like Shakira. They want to do something kind of fun with their girlfriends. They're not looking to become a professional dancer. They're not looking to be perfect with it and to become the next best thing. A lot of the dancers who come to my classes are older dancers as well, who are either long-term dancers or like have never tried, and it's sort of this thing they've always wanted to do, but they've never had the courage perhaps to try it. And then I've also found a lot of women come to the dance looking for healing and the ability to find sort of their center, to find their femininity when maybe that's something that hadn't explored before. So I say I'm the happy, smiley cheerleading teacher. Like when you come to me, I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. I'm going to get behind you no matter what it is that you want to do and how you want to do it. Like, yes, this is a folk dance. Yes, it is something that is born of a culture, and we talk about that within the class. But I really love to use this dance also as an opportunity for women of all ages, shapes, sizes, backgrounds to just feel comfortable in their own skin, to smile and laugh and move with a various diverse group of women and really enjoy that process and that growth that they feel within themselves.
Those are some amazing transformations that you've just described. And perfect, absolutely perfect for what Svadhisthana, for the sacral chakra, what it's there to remind us of. You know, if we identify as a woman, then it's there to remind us of our femininity. It's there to remind us of our sensuality and to bring about that confidence. And that your students are just so fortunate to have you. I know I was when I was following you, because those are exactly the things that some of the transformations that I made as well.
And
So,
I'm fortunate to have them too, because I think it's one of those things, the energy goes both ways, right? And when I see that happening in my students, when someone either confides in me or I just watch how their like demeanor changes month to month through class, that makes me feel like I am doing something very worthwhile. Because the change from environmental engineering, the change from saving the planet to teaching belly dance was one where I was like, I don't know, am I really doing some good in this world, right? Am I really leaving a lasting impression, and am I really helping others through my work? And those are the moments when I'm like, yes, this is where I need to be, and good things are happening because of it.
yeah. Ah, yeah. And oh, that just gives me chills, to know that you're that rooted in what your purpose is. Okay, so you actually kind of answered this next question, and that is, are you ever too old to learn?
Oh, heck no. Heck no is the short answer. And then if I were to elaborate, right, I started fairly early on. I was just out of college when I started dancing. But I remember years ago, I had been dancing 3 or 4 years. I went to Arizona. I started dancing at a festival out there with a fabulous group of dancers. And I was taking classes every single night of the week. Oh, those are the days. Every single night of the week at the studio. And I had the opportunity to take classes with the amazing Helena Vlahos, who has most dancers and non-dancers have heard of this woman, because she's the one who made the quarter rolling on the stomach famous on the Johnny Carson show,
Oh,
like the 80s or 70s maybe. Like half the time when I say I belly dance, if someone is a little on the older side, they'll say, do you do the thing with the quarters? and and I don't. Helena tried to teach me. I was a terrible failure at it. I'm still working at it. But this woman is, I think, in her 80s, and she still dances. This must have been about 15 years ago. So maybe she was in her 60s at the time, danced circles around me in
oh,
that classroom. And in that moment, I was like, this is a dance that can be done forever. There's another very famous dancer in the community named Morocco, and she's been dancing since the 70s. And she always says, I'm going to dance until the day I'm dead and for 6 weeks after. And that'll be my mantra. Like, this is I am retired. This is my retirement plan. Like, I plan to dance until I can no longer stand up, because any body can do it. Obviously, it changes over time, the way it looks, the way it feels, the moves we do. But because it originates from a folk dance, this is a folk dance from the Middle East. This is a folk dance from the Arab world. Mom, dad, nana, grandpa, all the kids, they do it at parties. So while you can certainly take it to a performance realm where it's much more physically challenging, the folk dance aspect of it can be done by anyone.
oh, yeah, indeed. Yeah, I love that. I'm going to dance until the day I die and then 6 weeks after. That is dedication to the craft. Definite dedication to the craft. Oh yeah, and so that's a really good place where Sahira dances and vibrantly living you intersect. We're all about finding that joy in the movement and to bring about that connection to health and well-being and longevity. Everything we're talking about, they're all engines for health and happiness and vibrant living. So this is, yeah, I love that we're in the same space.
We are. It's great and so important as we all, age to just find the joy and find the vibrancy. I need to come and take more classes with you because I could use a little bit of that infusion as well.
Well, one of the reasons that I found myself on this path was, I won't go into the long story about it, but I did begin to realize that I had some body image issues, that settled in around the time of menopause. But then when I started to peel back the layers of the onion, I realized that those had actually always been there. But because for the longest time I was in a smaller body, I didn't have to face them head on until suddenly my body wasn't as small and fluid. And that was a real that was a real moment of personal reckoning for me to realize, even though I was considered myself a movement professional and thought I was so advanced in that way, to realize that I've been carrying around this weight this psychic weight for a long time. And then all it took for me to get onto this path was to just lose just a handful of pounds, just a few, but it was just enough to make me feel better inside of my body and to feel more energetic and to feel um, that I was that I was on the path that I needed to be on, instead of wasting my time thinking that I was not worthy, because I had a couple of extra rolls on my body.
Hmm.
We were talking about this the other day, and I said, the greatest weight that I lost was that negativity, that feeling of negativity, and that's more important than the actual physical pounds lost.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I love what you say about how you feel, right? Because like in the end, I think if we could all focus on how we feel, health would be less tied to numbers, right? And I think that's something that I've even struggled with, as I age and my body changes post baby and whatnot. I've always been thin. And I always say thin does not mean healthy. It does not mean that I'm healthy. And I have gone through some periods, especially during quarantine, where like the scale hasn't changed much, but my health has changed because of inactivity or decisions I've made or foods I've eaten or whatnot. And I feel that difference and I feel with less energy. I feel like older, more dragged down. And I'm like, it doesn't matter that I'm still thin on the scale. I'm not feeling my best self. And if we could focus on that idea of like feeling good and working towards that, I think it would be less frustrating for people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, another thing I came to realization I came to was, if I take care of my body will take care of me. It's this lovely symbiotic relationship. Yeah, but I'm glad you brought up the quarantine, because I was wondering, has the pandemic made you do things differently? Do you feel as though the fact that you're a dancer, that has it helped you get through it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like have has things been different? Like, oh my gosh, I cannot express how different my life has been this last year. And there have been times that I have said if I did not have dance, I would need therapy, right? Like dance has been my therapy because you have to work through this somehow, right? And therapy is a great option, movement is a great option if it works for you, prayer, whatever it is that brings you solace. Like it's been nuts, right? Everyone's lives have been upturned. I've been very blessed in that I've remained gainfully employed. Luckily, I was all set up teaching online before it was cool. So I just moved my live classes over to Zoom and continued my online studio with recorded content. So, my husband and I gainfully employed. My daughter was home for 1 year and I was teacher's assistant for 1 year. She just went back to school 2 weeks ago and our lives, both of her life, my life, and my husband's life have revolutionized for the better at this point. But it was nuts because my time was like, chopped into almost nothing because I was working with her all day and I have my whole family in the house. Uh, and the only like little feeling of normalcy that I felt I had within the week were the days I stepped into my studio space in here and started teaching classes. And even though it was to this camera and not to my beautiful students' faces, it was like my happy place. And there were times, I'd always say it's Wednesday night. It's my favorite night of the week because I would connect with all those people. I'd have adult conversations for 2 hours straight, which was pretty magical, and then and I'd always feel better, right? It's one of those things like I challenge anyone to go into a space, in a mood you'd wish to get rid of, and to move, to dance, to move, to yoga, to Nia, to whatever for like 30 minutes and try to still be angry, depressed, hopeless, despondent, right? Like I always walk out of it feeling a lot better. And there were actually times, and this is something that happened a lot less often than before the pandemic, it's happened a lot since, is where I just would reach my limit. And I was like, one of two things would happen. No, one of three actually. Either I would walk out my front door, like leave my screaming child behind, walk out my front door, be like, give me 20 minutes, I'm going for a walk, right? My husband's here, and then leave her alone. And I would go for a walk. Or I do laundry when I get angry. So I do laundry, but it's the physical, like repetitive moments, like motions that would get me going. Or I would just come in here, I would turn on music. I'd usually pick up my Zills and I would just play 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's all I needed. And then I was ready to like take it on again. And it saved my butt many, many times.
Movement therapy.
Yes.
Although I must say, I've never heard of laundry therapy. That's a new one.
Hate folding laundry, but when I'm mad, it's great mindless work that I can do.
Remember that. Well, it also sounds like you're going to have to update your bio and add teacher's assistant.
Yes, on my long list of growing skills. Perhaps not my favorite job ever, but it is one that I now have in my back pocket.
To you and all of the mothers out there and fathers who may have found themselves as teacher's assistant, a huge kudos, thank you, gratitude. This is an important part, a time for our entire planet, this whole generation of learners.
Yeah.
They have relied on you, so thank you.
To all the teachers, right, who are struggling to make it happen over the internet, especially older teachers who like didn't really want to get the internet thing figured out. I have been so impressed and just so in awe of the changes that schools have made to try to keep it together and keep the kids learning and growing through all this. Like huge respect. They can never be paid enough. Never.
I know, and if there was any silver lining to all of this, maybe teachers will begin to be paid more because now everybody knows what it is that
they're worth. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Sahira, I'm just curious, was there anything that you had to share with our community today, aside from your wonderful warmth and experience and awesomeness?
Oh, I am just so excited to get to connect with the people in your community. I know, like I've known you for so long and you've always been this bright, vibrant soul in my world. And I always think when I grow up, I want to be Yvonne because she's really cool. Like I think you're amazing. I think you're so amazing. I love the work that you are doing. And I would love to invite your community to come dance with me. Like it is so much fun. Bellydance is a very unique, very interesting way to find health. And, much like Nia, I love Nia as well. It's just a fun way to sort of dive in, find movement within your body and find new ways to express yourself. Within my classes, we work with muscles and technique and movement. We talk about culture. We talk about, confidence and we talk about just getting out there, moving and being you, right? This ability to just sort of let down your guard and just sort of have fun. I encourage my friends or my students all the time to just like allow themselves to be silly, allow themselves to be a little ridiculous, allow themselves to be lifelong learners, right? I think as we get older, there are fewer things that we encounter in life that are new to us. And we're also a lot less willing to be awkward and new at something. You know, I tell my students all the time, you have to embrace the suck. You have to be bad at it first to get good at it. And so I think there's a magical moment when you walk into a studio. I remember my first class vividly. I stood in place for 1 hour and sweat like buckets because the movements were so challenging to me. And it was this like, wow, you know, here I am, you know, I know how to move all these limbs, but when I try to do it in this way, it's a completely new thing. And if you can approach it from a place of excitement and exploration and see it as an opportunity for growth and joy and wellness and movement, it's so much fun. So I would love for your folks to come and join me at my studio. I of course have live online classes, but a very easy, very sort of low you don't have to worry too much about getting involved, you know, low risk way to get involved with people. I've put together a little 7-day beginner belly dance. I don't know if challenge is the right word, just a beginner belly dance offering for folks if they wanted to come. It's 7 days of easy 10-minute belly dance practices delivered to your inbox that'll take you through some of the basic movements that are the foundation of Middle Eastern dance, kind of get you familiar with the way it flows, familiar with the way it feels, and exploring a little bit to see if this movement style is something that, you know, you might enjoy exploring more. And so if people want to check that out, they can just jump on over to my website, which is sahirabellydances.com/jumpstart, all one word, jumpstart. And they can sign up and come belly dance with me a little bit online and see what they think, see if it's something they'd like to explore more.
Oh, that's just such a lovely gift and a great opportunity. And I have to tell you, whenever you have a chance to learn from this woman, you know, don't walk, run, preferably with shimmies. Get your shimmy on. But if you don't know how to shimmy, she'll teach you. Yeah. So Sahira dances, no, SahiraBellyDances.com
Dances.com.
/jumpstart. Okay, we will make sure that we have that link along with this recording for you, so you can head over there. And thank you so much for that very generous offer. I might have to do that myself. It's been a while, so it wouldn't hurt for me to get reconnected to that. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, my goodness, what what a wide-ranging conversation this has been. We first started talking about engineering, and now we're talking about belly dancing. I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. I hope you do too. As you know, I'm starting a chakra food and a chakra move of the week for you to explore and embody. This week's chakra food is actually going to be a sauce because, you know, the element of Svadhisthana, the sacral chakra, it's water. So I thought, well, okay, we need to explore sauces and soups for this month. I have this wonderful dear friend named Marcus Gursky, who is a man of many talents, and one of them, just one, is cooking. And I asked him if he had a favorite sauce recipe, and he said yes, and this is his ginger garlic stir-fry sauce. You can use this as a marinade for your proteins, or use it to stir-fry some nice, fresh, crisp vegetables, because food and movement, always the two strongest tools in your toolkit for really, really good health. So I want to share that with you. And I actually got to taste that. When was it? Back in February during Freeze-mageddon. And I was spending some time over at his residence with his lovely wife, Kathy. And so I can attest that this is a very good sauce. I will put a recipe to that in my Facebook private group, Vibrantly Yours. I'll add a link to that. So if you're not a member of Vibrantly Yours, now would be a great time to join. And I'll also have a link to Sahira's offer for you to find over there. Okay, so make some ginger garlic stir-fry sauce for the week. That's your mission should you decide to accept it. Your chakra move of the week, I thought about this one. I kept going back and forth, and then I thought, I've got Sahira here, so of course it's got to be a move that is consistent with belly dance. So I decided it needs to be your figure 8 hips. Figure 8 hips, because we're dealing with the pelvis here. And would you like to explain how you do figure 8
Oh,
hips.
yes, I will try to verbally explain it. I wore a really long dress today, so I don't even think I could show it to you, but it is part of my 7-day challenge. So you will get a full like demo in the studio if you would like. But figure 8 hips, there are a million different ways. The most common way that I teach first is horizontal. So you want to imagine your hips tracing like a big infinity sign on the floor. You can go front to back where you slide a hip forward and you scoop it back and then slide through it at an angle to the other side. Or if you were a bird looking at my hips, bird's eye view would be something like this. Or you can go back to front if it feels better. You can go up to down. Like these infinity signs go any which way you would like. But think about just standing with your feet right under hip width apart, nice even weight on the feet. And then your goal is to get those hips moving side to side while like your torso and your head kind of just float there nonchalantly, yeah, as the hips go side to side. So I invite you to play with that, and yeah, and enjoy its wateriness. Yes.
Ah, I am so glad I asked you to explain it. You did that so much more lyrically than I have.
I have lots of practice.
That's kind of what I figured. Yeah. So spring-loaded joints and let those flowy hips flow. That's your chakra move of the week. Okay, so one last reminder with all of these wonderful things you can delve into is that I actually have a special going on right now. It's something that I call Raise Your Joy. And this is a 4-week laser coaching session and 4 NIA classes over a 4-week period, just 4 Fridays in a row. And this gives an opportunity for you to be able to boost your energy and to get strong and to raise your joy. And then we can use these laser coaching sessions to hone in on what particular area, what chakra, what particular area you might feel some gaps in. And then we can talk about some ways that you can maybe fill those gaps. Raise Your Joy. You can find information about it on my website at thelivingyou.com. That is the letter U, www.thelivingyou.com. Raise Your Joy. I'd love to be able to spend some time with you with some laser coaching and some group NIA classes. So come on over. Ah, so much goodness today. Just so much goodness today. We'll be back next week with some more interesting information about chakra number 2. Until then, I do invite you to stay happy and healthy and strong and fluid. And remember that a vibrant life is yours for the taking. Thank you, Sahira, for being here.
Yeah, everyone.
And we'll see everybody else next week. Bye for now.